Hi folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite games in the world, Destiny, and I'm big fan of Bungie up until recently, of course. And of course, you've probably been seeing the videos and the things going around about how people are quitting the game, no longer playing Destiny 2, they're not happy with it, etc., etc. There's been a lot of those videos going around. In fact, it's impacted me, as just recently I watched a ton of people leave my clan, quit the game, and are moving on to other games. Which really bums me out, and I'm very saddened about, but it is what it is, and I understand what's going on, as I have not been playing the game as much as I used to as well. So let's talk about how Bungie screwed this up. Now, I'm a big fan of Bungie. I'm a big fan of Destiny. I love the game. I love what they did with Destiny 2, giving us more bigger maps and more stuff to do and more this, that, and the other, and all the tunneling that goes underneath the planets, you know, all that stuff, and everything they did with the game redesign. I could go on and on about all the stuff I love about Destiny, but let's not get into that because they did a lot of things right, but they really screwed up just what made the game successful as it was. They messed with the basics of the game that they shouldn't have. One of the biggest problems and the things that Destiny's really been messing up is this thing of trying to force everyone to play together. Now, that's nice, and there's a lot of people who have the time to play together or can play together, but everyone's got their own lives, and this whole BS about trying to constantly force everyone to play together and work together and stuff just doesn't work for most people's schedules or lives unless, I don't know, you're a bunch of 10-year-olds. But most of the people I enjoy and play with the game, a lot of times we can't ever get our schedules to line up. And this is where Bungie keeps just tripping over themselves, even through Destiny 1. Let's start with the first thing, Crucible, how they screwed up Crucible. Now, the biggest problem I've had with Destiny 2 Crucible was they are making me play game modes of it that I don't like. Very few people that I know in all the gaming that I've done on Destiny like the Supremacy version. Really good people that love to rock and roll, kick butt, they love Clash. They don't like Control, they don't like Rift, they don't like Supremacy. They like Clash because it's the competitive nature of it. With Destiny, they really screwed up because they force you to play the other two game modes of Supremacy and Control. I don't want to play that. So, you know what I've actually been doing? I've actually been going back to Destiny 1 and playing Clash on Destiny 1. And it's actually fun, too. I'll get into that in a second. But they ruined it because they're basically screwing up the basic thing of serving your customer. It's like when I want to play Destiny, it's like if I pulled up to McDonald's and said, hey, I like to have a Big Mac. In this case, that would be my Clash game. And they go, and Bungie goes, no, I'm sorry, you can't have your Big Mac. We're going to have to eat a quarter pounder before we can give you the Big Mac. And you're like, but I don't want a quarter pounder. I want a Big Mac. And they're like, no, you're going to have to play Control if you ever want to play Clash. Even then, it's just going to be kind of random. And then you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead and have that quarter pounder so I can get a Big Mac. And they're like, well, no, sorry. Actually, you got to have a fillet of fish, the Supremacy mode. You've got to have that first. And then maybe you'll get a quarter pounder. And then maybe you'll get your Big Mac. So you're like, so I've got to play two game modes that I sincerely hate just to play the one that I do like, and then I just have to hope it comes around every now and then. And Bungie's like, yeah, you're just going to have to deal with it. It's just a horrible customer service metric. If I went to my customers and said, and they went, Chris, we want to pay you for this, and I went, no, you got to buy this other crap that you don't want or don't need or hate. And then maybe every now and then I'll give you a little bit of that. They tell me to go take a flying leap, which is basically one reason a lot of people are leaving Destiny, because people just want to play the game mode they liked. They like selection. They like options. They don't like being forced to play game modes that they don't like. So stop it, Bungie. Stop forcing people to do that. The other thing that they did is, like I said, I've been going back to Crucible 1 and playing it. It's fun. The other thing they ruined And it's the big shock that everyone came into when they came into Crucible Destiny 2 for the first time. They're like, holy crap, what happened to being able to punch someone and kill them? You have to punch someone 3 times now to kill them. It took all the fun out of Crucible. It took all the fun out of Crucible. And it's one of the reasons I love going back to Destiny 1. It's so fun to just run to somebody, punch them, and they blow up. That's awesome. That's fun. The other game mode they've created is just horrific. And then, don't get me started on the 4x4 thing. This is another way that Destiny screwed up, trying to make everyone play together. The 4v4 thing, while I do like it, while I do like playing it, if you're not on a fire team, you're just playing solo, you're screwed. You're just screwed. Unless you're getting a good team, that you're just screwed with a bunch of blueberries, because they will start losing, and within about 5 minutes, or within about 5 seconds, I can tell that I'm just going to get farmed in a Crucible match because we're playing a fire team and I'm on a thing with a bunch of blueberries and all my friends aren't on, so fuck me. So Bungie screwed it up. When you had a 6v6 team and people wanted to leave because they felt like they were being farmed or they weren't going to play well, or maybe they just dropped out because of their connection, well, that was fine. Usually at 6v6, you could still carry the team if you were really good, and you could still usually come out fine. Sometimes if you were good enough, you could actually beat a 6-person team if you were down to 4 or 5. But when you have 4v4, if you lose one person, you're pretty much almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. I'm sure there are rare cases, but you're almost guaranteed a loss. And at that point, everyone just starts quitting because it sucks. So 4v4 was a really stupid thing for Bungie to do with Crucible. I'm just bewildered that they took so many things that were the core of the game, that kept people coming back, that kept people playing it, and they just jiggered it all up and ruined it. So, the forcing people to be in clans and playing Crucible, the clan thing's really nice, but it's the same problem I keep having with Destiny is people have different schedules. So, you just can't play with your friends all the time. That's just the way it is. And Destiny should have made more space for the freedom of playing without a fire team or playing without your clan. The next thing they got wrong was trials. Jesus, wow, okay, so they took trials and they made it so there's no light level. The same thing with Iron Banner. They ruined Iron Banner. The whole reason I loved Iron Banner was because I got to play with all my guns at the full level they were, light level, and power. Same thing with my armor and everything else. I worked really hard for that stuff. I ground really hard so that when Iron Banner came around, I could kick butt. And if you didn't grind and you didn't work hard, well, guess what? Maybe you didn't play Iron Banner as well. But taking away the light level just basically made it glorified Crucible. And even then, you're stuck with whatever mode you have. But that was in the original version as well. So they ruined Iron Banner for us. I mean, it just wasn't fun anymore because light level doesn't matter. Same thing with the trials. They turned in this vanilla trials where a light level doesn't matter, and if you can't, it doesn't matter if you're like a great player. You have to team shoot, because if you don't team shoot, you can't carry the team. That's just pretty much the way it seems to be. The raid. They screwed up the raid, man. How do you... I just bewilders me what they did with the raid. I was loving the raid. I was having a good time. It was pretty hard. It was kind of fun, and it was doing pretty good. But then they come out with the hard raid, and there's no hard raid guns. There's really no reason to even get the armor much. It doesn't seem to matter much. It's just kind of different a little bit. But there's no light level increases. I had totally expected there'd be light level increases. And then the irritating thing is whether they intended to or not, I believe they intended to, they put these cheese things in the raid for the hard raid. And I guess they did it so that people could kind of learn the hard raid. The problem is it made all these cripples that came into the game who can't play well, and they're like, oh, we want to do the cheese. And you're like, well, we need to learn to do the hard mode so that you'll learn to do the hard mode. But one of the other problems is they made it so freaking hard. It's so impossible for these people to play it, and you just don't want to raid anymore because it's just a gang of crippled idiots who, if they can't cheese it, they can't do it, and you're just like stuck with that, and it's just a mess. So they ruined the hard raid. They ruined the raid pretty much in and of itself. And who cares? You get an aura? Ooh, whatever, man. Like an aura for completing the prestige raid. And yeah, maybe you get a couple other things, like maybe it's a white thinking thing from whatchamacallit, Eververse. Wow, okay, yeah, so I do prestige nightfall, I get a white thing from Eververse. Yeah, that's kind of cool. But geez, for the grind that I have to put through that damn thing, and then I get an aura. Really? That's it? An aura? Oh my god, it's just so stupid. And that's really, in my mind, where they screwed it up. They didn't make it so that players that can't be on teams, that maybe are freelance, they're just themselves, they can't find their friends that aren't on, they just want to play some Destiny, they can't play. Because it's all about teams and clans and people that are on fire teams. And you can't enjoy it if you're just a single person player playing it. The other mistake they made is they made the grind too hard. Now clearly they don't have an end game, so what they did is they made the grind incredibly freaking hard. This drove people like my nephew, who's about 15, from the game, because he's like, you know what, I want to play a few of my other games and I want to play Destiny. And he loved Destiny, he loved Crucible, he's a great Trials player, he was a great raider, but guess what? He quit the game within a week or two because the grind was too hard. He got frustrated with it. He's like, geez, how hard do I have to work just to get a light level of 1? And he's like, you know what, screw this. I want to play my other games, and I don't have to work my other games as hard, so I'm going to go back to my other games. He went to some crappy game, Ark. He actually went back to Ark that has the worst freaking graphics ever, in my opinion. I get sick looking at it because the gammon is just so awful. I get motion sickness from it because it's so awful. But he loves the game, and guess what? He can't do both, so he made a decision to go to Ark. And so many people have done that. In fact, since the hard raid dropped, I've pretty much given up doing the raid. I don't care about it. I don't want to play with a bunch of idiots who don't know what they're doing or won't learn what they're doing because Bungie keeps giving him cheese. And it's really too hard. It's just not worth it. There's no reason to do it. Like, everybody who's been quitting has been like, there's no reason to do the hard raid. There's no real good reason. There's nothing cool about doing the hard raid or learning it. And so they just ruined it. No one wants to play Crucible. I mean, the only time I ever play Crucible is basically, if it's the daily and I kind of do that for fun. But I gotta tell you, honestly, I just go back and play Crucible Destiny 1. It's a lot of fun. And if you're a single player playing alone without a fire team, it's still a lot of fun. So Destiny just really screwed this up, and they need to go back to the original model of Destiny 1, quit messing up all this stuff, and just give people what they want. They just want to have fun, they want to play the game, but trying to force them into all this other BS has completely backfired on Bungie, and it may not be able to save the game. They may have just ruined it. A whole mess of people quit my clan tonight, and they're quitting because they're just like, screw it, we're not going to play the game anymore. We're done. And if you've seen the numbers out there, it's pretty awful. It makes me sad because Bungie built in Destiny 2 a great game. They built what I wanted, assuming all the same skeleton functions were there of the game that I like with Crucible and the raid and everything else. I was like, wow, they built a really great thing. But pretty much, there's no end game. There's really no reason to grind for stuff. And the grind is just too hard and a pain in the butt. And the ways they changed some of the formats of being able to play by yourself, they really ruined the game. So anyway, I hope somehow they can fix this with the DLC and go back to the old original model. Some things you just don't screw with. You don't screw with perfection. You don't go to people and say, sorry if you want a quarter pounder, but you're going to have to eat Big Macs for a while until you can get a quarter pounder. Let people have what they want. Let people enjoy the game. Let them have choices to play the variants of the game. If they don't want to play Control, let them play Clash. If they want to play frickin' Supremacy, let them play Supremacy. Give them choice. Don't just like force everybody to do a certain thing. It's just annoying. So anyway, that's my big feeling. I'm hoping that Bungie can fix this. I'm hoping they can save Destiny 2, either through the DLCs or just changing the game modes back to Destiny 1. They built a beautiful game, and it's great, aside from the fact that they changed what worked, and they shouldn't have tinkered with that. They just needed to reskin everything and make everything maybe a little better here and there and push stuff in, and they just should have left the whole damn thing alone, really, when it came down to it. Just build us a new raid and all that good stuff. Anyway, really bummed out tonight, and I hope Bungie saves it somehow, Destiny 2, or they may have just killed the game based upon what I'm seeing. So I'm hoping there's some way they can fix this. If you're listening, Bungie, please just go back to Bungie 1 and copy the model of everything and give it all back to us. Give me Clash, where I can just play Clash all the time, and I can choose between that and Control. And I don't know anybody who likes Supremacy. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us. See you next time.